Hey, today I'm going to take care of a problem for a lot of people during this quarantine. I mean YouTube. For some reason, YouTube is addictive as shit. So how do we fix this? Well, with the anti-Pavlov dog. Instead of giving a reward for good behavior, like an absolute casual, we're going to give a deterrent for going on YouTube. This will take the form of an electromagnetic particle accelerator. So what are we going to need for this? Well, first, some sort of electronic heating device, then a ceramic mug, some green tea leaves, and sugar to taste. Now that you have your tea, it's time to get the materials for your project. You're going to get an AVR microcontroller, which is like a little computer, a USB to TTL module, which lets the computer talk to the AVR, a PowerShell script, and the actual code for the AVR. Also, be sure not to forget your homemade Coilgun. Main voltage on. Power. Pretty good. This is what I'm using for the bullet. Just a piece of iron that I gave a point to. I decided not to use this one, as it was a bit too pointy for my taste. So here's the plan. Have a PowerShell script track the time spent on YouTube. This will then send a serial event that goes to the AVR through the USB to TTL module. Finally, that triggers the Coilgun. First, the PowerShell script. Now, if this looks like it was written by someone who doesn't know what they're doing, that's because it was. All my knowledge of this language comes from last night when I chugged that tea I made and Googled PowerShell for 4 hours. This is the result. First, it gets user input for the site, which it then checks connectivity to. If it's connected, it launches that URL. It then goes through a delay for however long you want. Then it closes Chrome, does a funny breath sound, and sends a serial event. The Mega is surprisingly simple. All it does is listen for the serial event, then it shoots. But how does that work? That relies on a principle called electromagnetism. Basically, when electricity runs through a conductive material, it generates a magnetic field. So if you have a lot of wire in the form of a coil and run a shit ton of current through it, it will attract metals, like a magnet. Now what's really cool about this coil gun is that it's completely powered by these 4 AA batteries. And if that sounds crazy, that's because it's not true. The coils are actually powered by these 4 lithium polymer batteries that are connected in series to give 44.4 volts. So what some coil guns do is have a lot of different coils in series. Here's a barrel of mine in its early stages. You can see the 6 coils wrapped around it here. These coils get turned on and off using these MOSFET transistors, which are able to handle a lot of current. This is the chip I made for them, complete with flyback diodes and pull-down resistors. But how do we know when to turn them on and off? Well, I did this optically, with some infrared sensors. These are the boards I made for them. So at the end of each coil, there is one of these that sends data all the way back to the Mega that is located here at the back. The Mega then knows what coil to turn on and off and at what time. So when the trigger is pressed, the first coil is turned on. Then, when the first sensor detects the bullet, it turns this coil off and the next one on. So that's all good, but now I have the problem of getting the coil gun to shoot when the script finishes. Remember the serial event? That's how we do it. A serial event is just when some sort of data is transmitted through a port. This time, it's the USB port. This goes through that converter and gets received by the AVR. So let's test it. When I run the script with this click, it should fire. And here is the finished product. For the tests I'll show you, I did not have all 6 coils on, as I have a dislike for getting shot by rods of iron going as fast as a coked-up Sonic. This is still the simplified version of all of it. There is a lot of other supporting electronics. The actual construction was completed with the use of a milling machine, all parts done by hand, but most of the materials were scrap I had laying around. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment and I'll get back to you. Originally, I was going to get test subjects other than myself, but I can't anymore, given the current health situation. And because going to a park and shooting children with a coilgun isn't socially acceptable.
Damn it.
And so I'm forced to test it on myself. Wow, that's a cool Ryan's toy review.
Bruh.
That fucking... That was alright, but I think we can do better. Basically, I'm gonna do what every other quirky maker channel does. Add a taser. So after having a mental breakdown, I started on the electronics. But what I need to do now is make this go off when the coilgun does. This is pretty easy to implement. All I need is the taser module, a relay, some tinfoil, and a couple edits to the code. And here it is finished. Now it's time for the final test.
Bruh.
As you can tell, I wasn't very happy about that taser, as this was my 9th take. Other than that, this was a really fun project. If any of you want to do something similar, info's in the description. Thanks for watching. If you want, leave a comment with a suggestion, question, or anything really. See ya.